Hey there! Welcome back to One Code Camp channel. I am Ian, and in this video, we are going to talk about, understanding the difference between templating versus layouts. In web development, templates and also layouts play essential roles in building consistent and, of course, maintainable web applications. So for today, we're going to explore the differences between these two concepts and how they work together to create a dynamic and, of course, well-structured websites. So if we're going to define and compare templates from layouts, we can come up with an idea that a template is just a technique that we use to create reusable structures or components within web pages. This involves defining, we can say, placeholder for any dynamic content that we wanted to be displayed with variables or with information on them. So just like with EJS or with embedded JavaScript, these are chunks of codes that we can repeatedly use, no matter what web pages it will be located on. Doesn't matter if we are going to use them on multiple web pages, as long as it provides the same functionality and information within it. That is how a template is being defined in the context of web development. Now, for layout, we define layout as the overall structure and the design of a web page. So if templates are just chunks of codes or just components of a web page, layout is talking about the entire web page as a whole. It includes the headers, the footers, navigation menus, and then of course the consistent styling of all the web pages in a specific web application. It also provides that consistent look and also, of course, the feel across the multiple pages list to, of course, portray professionalism and uniformity among all the web pages in a web application if it happens to have multiple web pages in it. Now, mistaking templates from layouts is surprisingly common among developers, especially those who are new to templating engines like EJS. So that's the reason why it's essential for us to first differentiate between these two concepts to build maintainable and organized web applications. Now, we are going to discuss some of the reasons why developers might be confused with the use of templates and layouts. So, first is lack of understanding. Developers who have primarily worked with SPAs or single-page applications handles their formats differently and may not have encountered the need for layouts at all. So when transitioning to traditional server-rendered applications, they might not immediately grasp the concept of layouts. In some occasions, they might even use the terms interchangeably without even recognizing their distinct purposes. Next is overloading templates. In some cases, developers might overload the templates with both content and structural elements, blurring the lines between templating and layout. This can lead to complex and less maintainable code. Another factor will be mixing concerns. Now, without these clear understanding of layouts, without us setting the standards of what layouts or what makes layouts different from templates, developers might mix these concerns related to styling, structure, and the actual content within a single template. This type of mixing can hinder separation of concerns, the code modularity of our code base, and of course, and most importantly, the reusability of these codes. Lastly would be another factor to consider or another reason why some developers might mistake layouts from templates would be incomplete framework knowledge. There are some web development frameworks or libraries that really might have emphasized the importance of layouts. There are also scenarios wherein leading developers or these type of concerns. Lastly would be incomplete framework knowledge. Now, there are some web development frameworks or libraries that might not have emphasized the importance of layouts enough. These leads developers to focus solely on templating. And then when working outside of these frameworks, developers struggles to apply the correct concepts when they are being thrown at a project that needed the concept of layout as well as templating to be really different from one another, or they might have transferred to a different employer that is needed or that they might need to apply the separation or the actual definition between template and layout. So with understanding all these nuances of templating and layouts, it can really be a part of the learning curve for learning web development in general. Developers may make mistakes initially, but with constant practice, just like everything else, and then also application of these concepts that we learn, it should improve their understanding and should be able to eventually appreciate how useful templates are. All right, so now that those are out of the way, let's get to actual coding. I'm closing this presentation we have, and then back here in our desktop is you will be able to see this EJS folder. This is a project that we created from our previous videos. If you haven't watched that yet, you might want to check it out after this video. But for the purpose of showing you guys this topic, we would like to start from scratch. So I'll be opening this folder. This is what everything inside it. I am going to delete them all. Delete. All right. And then once they are deleted, we are going to open our Visual Studio Code. So let me just allow our prompt to delete those files. Try again. Okay. So now our EJS folder is empty. Now we want to open this EJS folder in our Visual Studio Code. So I'm opening up mine right now. And here we have it. This is my Visual Studio. Let me open this one window. Let's close this file. And then, as you can see, we now don't have anything at all inside our folder. Okay, so first, what we are going to do is to first install all the required dependencies for our project. We are going to run here in our terminal. If you open your Visual Studio Code and this is not open yet, you can do so by clicking this terminal button up here and then just click on New Terminal. So once that's up, you will just need to run the command npm init-y. This is going to initialize our Node.js project. Let me go ahead and maximize our Visual Studio Code so you can better see it. There you go. Okay, so after you see that this package.json file is already inside our folder, we can now install Express. You can do that by running npm install Express. And then we are going to install the EJS package as well alongside with Express. And we're just going to wait for this to finish. While we're waiting, we can now create the server file for our project. So for our server file, just click on Create File. And then let's name our server file as app.js. This is what's going to handle all the logic for our server. And then now we were able to successfully install Express as well as EJS. You can see that up here, if you open this node_modules folder, it have all the dependencies that we will be needing to create a Node and Express project. Okay. Now, alongside with our server file, we're going to create a views folder, which is where we are going to store the templates and all of our layouts. So up here, click on New Folder, and then type in views. Okay. Now, inside our views folder, we are going to create another or two subfolders. So inside this, push on New Folder again, and in the first one, we are naming pages, and then let's make sure you click views so that the subfolder will be created inside it. Then create another folder. Let's name it templates. Okay. Pages is corresponds to layouts. That's how we are going to name all those layouts that we will be creating. And templates will be just templates for simpler naming convention. All right, so now that we have all these folders and our server up here, let's now create our server file first. So here, in the first line of our code, we are going to declare a variable we name express. And then we're going to use the keyword require. Then we're going to call express in here. So this line of code will help us import the whole express.js framework, and then we are going to have it integrated into our node.js application. It lets us use the express.js functionality and built-in methods in our code without starting from scratch or without coding any functionalities that we might be needing on a later time from the very beginning. And then next down here is we have another variable we will be naming app. And this time we're calling in a function named express. In this time, we are creating an instance of the express application itself by calling this express function. So this variable that we name app, it represents the entire express.js application, and this is what's going to allow us to use the routing mechanism as well as the configuration settings of Node. And then also, for our last variable, we're going to set the port on where we wanted to have our project to be shown. So we're going for, let's say, 3000. This is port 3000 whenever we go on live server. This is the port that we're going to use to view our project. And then down here is we're setting the templating engine, or we are now defining EJS as our templating language. We can do that by saying view engine for the first parameter. Oops, that needs to be outside of the quotation mark. And then here is we're going to say EJS. So again, this line helps us identify that we wanted to use EJS templating language for this project. And that's it. Down here, we will fill this field later on for the routes for the pages that we will be creating. We'll get back to this app.js file later on. But to end this code or this file, we're gonna type in here app.listen. So whenever, of course, we are going to run our server, we would like to see a confirmation through the console that we have coded everything properly. We have not done any errors at all. So we want to see that by showing a message. So maybe we can say server is running on port, or maybe we can have this log dynamic. Let's use a template literal instead. So by using template literal instead of concatenating the string you want to type and the variable, we can just have them all together in one line. And then we're now calling the port variable that we declared up here. Okay, looking good. Okay, so with this line, again, it's going to help us have an idea that everything's running smoothly inside the server. And by using this line of code, we can change into different port numbers without the need of changing that information down here anymore. So we can just change the port numbers whenever necessary up here. Okay, so don't forget to save the file, and then we can now move on to creating our templates first. So whenever we think of templates, again, these are the same elements that we can see wherever, or it doesn't matter on which web page are we at in a specific website. It's the very same elements that every web page contains. So what are the best examples that we can think of? On top of my head, well, we can think of headers and footers. So those are the two information that is most commonly present everywhere. So that's what we are going to do for our template examples. Inside our templates folder, I wanted you to create a new file. First, let us create the header. So let's name this file header.ejs. Don't forget the .ejs file extension. And then let's create our header. So we are going to start this with a header tag. And then inside, we're going to also use a navigation tag to make use of the semantic elements of HTML. And then this is where inside this unordered list is where we're going to put in all those items on the navigation bar, which are what are the most commonly elements that we can see inside the navigation bar. We can see the about page, contact page, and links for maybe home, right? So let's do that. Inside this list item, I'm going to put in a link. So H, and then let's use the href attribute to give the route or the location of this page. So let's see. What item can we put in here first? Let's just go for home. And let's just copy and paste this for the 2 more items. So after home, we have about. And then we also have contact us. Contact us. So this should be about. And then this one should be contact us. So as you notice, we are naming everything in a very simple way to avoid further confusion. Okay, let me check. I think we're good with the header. Let's save this file. And then inside the templates folder still, let's create another file. We're now creating the footer file. And then for the footer, we can use the footer tag also. And then let us create another unordered list. And then what are the elements that we usually see on the footer? We can put in here privacy policy, maybe, and also terms of service. Let's add those things in here. So, of course, inserting a link for the location, href. So, first, let's do privacy policy. Privacy, let's put in a dash, policy. And then after the anchor tag, let's write in here privacy policy. Okay, let's copy this. Maybe we can just make 2 elements for our footer. So in this one goes the terms of service. Terms of service. Sure you spell that correctly. Terms of service. Okay. Let me have a quick look. Okay. Everything's going good so far. If you have watched the previous videos, we did something similar to this when we're trying to get a jump started with how templates look like inside the Node.the EJS project. So if you are coding along until this video, this should be pretty easy for you at this point. So good job. Now, I think we're ready with the header as well as the footer. Those are the only files that we want to create inside the templates. So now let's move on to pages. So here inside the pages folder, how many pages are we trying to do again? 3. Okay, so we're going to create 3 pages that corresponds to these elements that we have inside the navigation bar. So we want to create a home page, an about page, and then a contact us page. Let me correct that, and then maybe let's just put a dash in here as well, just like what we did with the footer, so we can be uniform about it. Okay, so inside pages, we are going to create our first file. So this file would be home. And then inside our home.EJS file, let's see. So we're going to create the HTML boilerplate by, again, typing in an exclamation mark and then click this Emmet abbreviation option once you're prompted to do so. And then we now have a ready-made HTML template. So what we just want to do in here is to change the title. So let's change this to home. Then let me just correct the indentation. Okay, looking good. All right, now here inside the body, let's just put in a title by using a heading 1 tag. Boop. Let's just say, welcome to home page. Welcome to home page. Okay. And then now, in the home page, we are, of course, going to utilize or going to insert in here the header template that we created here. So the way we do it is we're going to use scriptlet tags for EJS. So this is what we're going to do, include, and then we're specifying the file name that we want to include in here. Okay, that's looking good. And then, of course, we wanted to include in here our footer, which have the same format. We're using the include keyword. and then identifying the footer file in here. Then don't forget to close your scriptlet tags. Okay. All right. Maybe it'll be better if the navigation bar or the header is up here at the very top of the page, and then these under it comes in the title. And then what content can we put in here in the middle? Maybe we can just put in a paragraph in here. Let's just say this is an example of layout. Okay, save the file, and then we're going to make sure everything's the same. We're going to create our next layout or page now. So create another file. Let's go for about that EJS, and then we are going to need an HTML boilerplate again. Okay, let's change the title to about. Maybe about us, not about US, just about us. And then in here we're going to include the header again. Include header. So basically, we will just be doing this on all the pages that we are going to do, since we wanted to display the header and the footer on each one of them. Let's also put in here a title. So let's just say this is the About Us page. Okay. Down here would be the footer. Right? I'm thinking of adding another set of paragraph. And maybe we can just copy this just for us to have like some sort of division between the header and the footer. There you go. Let's save the file. And then let's create our last page, which would be the contact page. Contact.ejs. And let's change this to contact us. Okay. I cannot function with wrong indentation, so let's correct that. I think we have the saved indentation. There you go. Let me just correct this. It should be one tab inside. Okay, looking good. Okay, inside the body, we're inserting the header still. Refruit header. Close it. Let's add in the title. This is the contact us page. Alright, and then the footer, of course. Include footer. Okay. And then let's just copy this one. So I'm copying just the paragraph flag, but not all of these, which should have made our lives easier. And I'm in the mood for typing right now, so let's just copy the paragraph flag. There you go. Save everything, and all right, there we have it. Now that we have the templates and the pages ready, we can now modify it on our server file again. So back in the app.js file, let us go ahead and define the routes. So we already updated this file in here, but it's saying that on our live server, we are accessing the contact us URL, which of course will not be able to be found. That's why we're getting this error. Now we just wanted to have the contact page without the us. Let's just see if we can just access the contact page by manually typing in here or indicating in here the URL. So this is our port, this is the root URL, and this is the specific page that we wanted to get into. So let's see if that'll work. Okay, well, that works. So let's see if this link is going to work again. All right, it's working now. I think Node.js is just having slow time refreshing or reapplying the changes that we did, but it's a good thing that it's properly working now. So as you can see, again, let me just highlight the changes or what we did so far. So we were able to successfully create 3 pages for this project that we're working on. We were also able to integrate headers and footer templates on each of these pages. Now for the footer, I don't think we will be creating any more pages for the privacy policy and the terms of service. So maybe we can just display a static information here. So let's just not include a link anymore. Maybe we can just put in here the year for when this whatever business we're trying to have in here was being made. So let's just use in here 2023. Let's just display that year. What elements do we usually see on footer again? Maybe that's the name of the company. Let's just put in here lesson for EJS template. Okay, I think that's good enough. Okay, or just to add more element to our footer, let me add in here, let me add the copyright symbol beside the year, just for us to have a bit of a content in here. So we are going to use the ampersand symbol and then copy. Okay, this is what we're looking for. This is going to show the copyright symbol again from the live server on the user's end. And then let's save this file. Then let's see how it looks like. Close the server, run it again. Let's refresh the pages. Okay, there it is. Let's check if all the pages have the same footer layout. Home is the same. About page is also the same. Okay, there we have it. All right, so I just want to emphasize that aside from having less codes in our layouts, templates, like what we did in here, help us like address one file only, and then it will be applied to all of the pages that we would like to for that information to be displayed to. So that's actually conclude the lesson or the topic for this video. Just a quick recap again. In web development, we have two essential concepts, which is templating and of course layouts. Templating again is the practice of creating reusable structures or components within web pages. As you guys can see, it allows us to insert static as well as dynamic content and then data placeholders into our HTML files or the EJS templates. Templating is also used for rendering dynamic content, of course. So aside from what we have in here that's purely static, we are going to be creating more projects for EJS that will contain dynamic content next. And then also with layouts, we define it as the, again, overall structure, design, and consistent styling of our web pages. It includes elements like the headers, the footers, and then inside the headers, we inserted the navigation menus. First are headers. There we have it. So we were able to insert the navigation menus inside our headers. And then, of course, the layouts helps us ensure that there is a cohesive and uniform look and feel across multiple web pages. But here's the real magic. Templating and layouts work together seamlessly, as developers doesn't have to just pick one from them and then start working from there. I want you to be reminded that templating allows us to inject dynamic data into predefined layout structure. For instance, we can insert user-specific content into a specific or into a consistent header and footer. But again, that's about it on our next sessions. We are going to apply a bit of a styling into these pages into overall of our project for our application or for our web page to be somehow more presentable to you guys. But again, that's it for me. Again, this is Ian. I hope to see you on the next one, and thank you so much for watching.